Good evening, everybody. This is Meedal here, and let me introduce myself. I guess some of you have been following my channel and already know what I am into. But for the new joinees, I'm a life coach, mindset and wellness coach. I do one-to-one coaching sessions and also group coaching sessions. And today's topic is very interesting. How do we increase our productivity while living in the present? I think that's the need of an hour, right? And before we start, let me wish you all a very happy Dhanteras, the first day of Diwali, and in advance, a very happy Diwali as well. Right? Dhanteras is all about having dhan, that is money, success. We all pray for success. And how do we get it? How do we achieve success? Uh, by being, by working hard, putting in our efforts, and achieving what we want, right? So my definition of success is different from what your definition of success is. But nevertheless, what goes, the core raw material or the ingredient of success is the same. You have to work smart. I wouldn't say only work hard, work smart and be happy in what you're doing. That's the key factor. Okay. Now, I've just shared my social media links in case if anyone wants to get in touch with me or wants to know more about me. There are details about what I've done in the past, what I'm currently doing on these links, and you can always refer to them and connect with me. So, friends, any specific thing that comes to your mind when it comes to increasing your productivity? What is your productivity, and why do you need to increase? Why would you want to do that? We all are living in a rat race. Let me be honest. We all want to grow. We all want to progress. We all want to achieve everything. But what is happening is most of the time we are comparing ourselves, comparing our success with the success of our colleagues, our friends, our family members, or whomever we feel like relating to. And in that bargain, we are just losing our peace of mind, our happiness, and everything. At the cost of our health and happiness, we are in the rat race of achieving success. Doing more in less time is increasing productivity. Very true. And Sudha and Adhav, tell me one thing. Why do we always come to a situation where, in spite of putting in so much of efforts and so much energy, time, more than 50 times, we feel that we haven't received what we really want to achieve? Why that feeling comes to us? Can anybody answer me that? Yeah, because we all are working hard, but still, at some point or the other, I would say most of the time, we are not satisfied with what we have achieved and what we have done in our life. Yeah, lot of distractions, correct. And why? What are these distractions? And why do these distractions seep in into our life? Because we allow them, right? We allow them. We are not aware of our own self. Even today, while all of you are listening to me, I'm sure there is some thing that is going back of your mind. You must be thinking it. I'm not saying that is good, bad, right, wrong. Nothing right, wrong, good, bad. But there is an internal dialogue which is going inside your mind, which is stopping you, or which is not allowing you to listen to me or to be with me 100% here. Correct me if I go wrong. You can say if one of you is completely 100% with me, I'll take my words back. But I'm very sure that's not the case. We all go through this, and the reason is because we don't want to take charge of our thoughts. We don't want to take control of our thoughts. Personal expectations, yes. No, that comes later. So the personal expectations, and which is where you feel unfulfilled is fine. Let us take one topic. Yes, social media has an impact on it, everything around us. So let us take one first point of distraction, which is stopping you from enhancing or being more productive, or being productive less than your capacity. What are the distractions? The first distraction is you are not 100% where you are supposed to be. And why do you do this? Because you are either in the past or you're either thinking about the future, right? You must be thinking of what happened yesterday or what happened 1 week back and what went wrong and what you could have done to make it correct or do it in a better way. We waste so much of our time living in the past and thinking about what has already happened. And what happens is, are we able to change something that has already happened? Is that, do we have that power of changing? We don't. We all know that whatever has happened, we have no power, no control of changing that. But still, we go through it. We have that story going on back of our mind, and that is one of the biggest distraction that we face. Because if we live in the present, if we live in the moment, we know what we have to focus on. But when we continuously think about what's happened, what had happened in the past, or how I could have done differently to achieve what I have achieved today, is where all our energy, all our time, and our focus goes on. Which is where we are not able to put the 100% focus that we really want to in the present moment. And what happens in that bargain, the present moment goes away. We lost that moment. We lose that time. And other rest of the time what we do is we become anxious about what will happen in future. Okay, if you have if you have some goals, and if you are really consciously thinking and worrying about it, what happens is you will not be able to do justice to your present moment, and you will just keep thinking about what will you do in the future. So what happens, your current level, the current moment productivity is going down because you're worrying about your future. Now tell me one thing. Do you have the power to change the future before living your present? Yes or no? Can we even think of changing our future if we have not lived in the present moment? With your decisions, yes. So the yes, but when will you be able to make the right decisions? Yes, choices you make, the decisions you make. But on what does a good decision depend? The Again, I'll go a little on the biological side of your brain. Your brain is divided into three parts. I'll go briefly and make you understand how your brain works. The part of your brain takes care of your reflexes. The middle part, or the limbus part of your brain, is taking care of your emotions. And the frontal part, neocortex part, that is responsible for the decisions that you take and the planning that you do. Now what happens is, when you live in your past, your limbus, or the part of the brain that is responsible for taking decisions, is uh, working hard and is active, and the neocortex part, which is supposed to do the planning and the decision making, becomes weaker. So what you need to do, if you make that shift, you don't think about the past and start living in the present moment, you're doing what you're doing, focus on the activity that you have, automatically the limbus part of your brain will become less active and your neocortex will start functioning actively. That is when you will be able to make the right choices, plan your actions properly, and take the right decisions. But for that, you will have to first focus on the present moment, right? So it's again very interlinked. Until and unless you choose to live in the present moment, your productivity or your decision making power or the choices that you make in your life are not going to be fruitful and are not going to help you progress in your life. I'm not saying you will not progress, but the progress that you were expecting for yourself. And someone did mention about personal expectation. Yes, we all have personal expectations. I have personal expectations from myself. I feel okay, every session I do, I have to be 10 on 10. People have to like it. I just cannot go wrong. Similarly, even you all have some expectations from the kind of work you're doing. Even in relationships, we all have expectations with family, with friends, with peers. What happens is we may not be able to please everybody, right? We are not perfect. I always keep saying we are all work in progress. So let's accept that we are not perfect. We are humans. We can make mistakes, and nothing wrong in making mistakes. When you make mistakes, that is when you will learn and you will grow in your experience. So if you're committing any mistakes, and you try to analyze your mistakes, and you try to judge yourself, and you try to criticize, you become critical about yourself and the actions that you have taken, that directly affects your self esteem, your self confidence, and just brings your productivity or the power to do any particular task, it just brings it down. This is what we do. So we are the ones who cause the most damage to ourselves. When I say we, it's our own thinking. When we when we when we just start judging ourselves instead of appreciating a small step that we have taken in the direction of our progress, what we do is we start judging and criticizing. Oh, I could have done more, I could have done this. I mean, it's so many things. We start blaming ourselves, right? I'll give you one small example. If someone is trying to lose weight, and this is very common, which is where I generally take these examples. If you have anything, any other example, or if you would want to understand in a different scenario, do let me know. So, if you have to lose weight, now you know you're already on the higher side, right? And it takes a lot of effort for the person who wants to lose weight. First thing is he or she has to control on eating, right? And who doesn't love to eat? I do love to eat. You all love to eat, right? So first thing is he or she has to give up eating so many of his favorite items, favorite food items and all that, drinks, etc. Second thing is to push yourself to exercise. It may be walking, whatever form of exercise. And your body is just not prepared because it's overweight. It is even more difficult for you to get up and do any kind of exercise. Let's accept that, right? It is difficult, but yes, you push yourself, you try to cut on food, you may achieve to a certain extent. In a week, you try and do exercise. You exercise for 3 days a week, 5 days a week. You were not you control on your food, but the other 2 days or 3 days, you were not able to keep that control on your diet to the extent that you wanted. And the 3 days or 2 days where you skipped your exercise regime or routine, and you tell yourself, oh, I am no good, I could not do the exercise for all the 6 days, or I couldn't stop eating, what will happen? Will that help you to achieve that bigger goal of losing weight over a month, over few months, 6 months, 8 months, whatever your goal was? No. So what is happening is once we get into the activity of judging our actions, being critical towards our own actions, we are damaging our self-esteem, we are bringing our morale down. We are responsible for doing that. So the day we decide that I am not going to criticize myself, I am not going to judge, you will see a difference in your performance. As I said, okay, exercise and losing weight is a very simple example I've given, that you could relate it to any challenge that you're going through or any goals that you are in the process of achieving, and you're finding it, at some point you're giving up. Very often after 1 month, 2 months, you give up. uh, like it, but it does impact motivation. Raman, what according to you impacts your motivation? I would say when your self talk about yourself is very critical and negative, that impacts your motivation. So it's very very important, you the talk that you have, you know should be very motivating, very positive. Tell me one example, one thing. You guys tell me, if any of your closest friend, okay, if your closest friend is has failed somewhere, whether it be an exam, in a relationship, or any project, or somewhere at the workplace, if he or she has failed in achieving, what would you go and tell? Would you tell you're good for nothing, you have to just, you stop doing, you just can't do this? Would you go and tell him this, or would you go and console or empathize and tell it's okay, it's okay, this is not end of the world, it's just a bend, right? We give those motivational talks, or motivate, or those pep talks to our friends and people who are very close to us when they lose their battle in one particular activity, or in one particular uh, angle, or in one particular area. So when it comes to us, why can't we give that same positive talk to ourselves? Why can't we motivate ourselves? Yeah, that's what we would show empathy. So why can't we show that empathy to ourselves when we fail? Why are people more critical towards us? Why? Because Sudha, why are they more critical? Is because we have our own expectations. I think you only asked, personal expectations was your comment. So our expectations from ourselves are very high. Our from on the scale of 10 to 10, we have expectations from ourselves which are somewhere 8 and 9. And when we do not meet those expectations, we fall around 3, 4, 2, or whatever, anything less than 5, we feel that we are good for nothing. We become very critical, we become very judgmental to our own actions, and we just lose hope and we give up. So it's we who our thinking. When I say we, it's our thinking. We When we get into that critical thinking, or when we start uh, judging ourselves and rating ourselves low in front in our own eyes, that is where everything falls apart, right? So, and how can you do that? How can you avoid doing that? By appreciating everything you're doing. Let's go back to that weight losing example. Now, if you have been able to follow that proper diet for 5 days or 4 days, give a pat on your back. 5 days I could do it. Let it be 5 days I followed the diet. 4 days in a week I was able to hit the gym. Or 4 days I went for a 1 hour walk. Be happy. You know, I mean just enjoy those small success or small achievements you do. Small achievements that you have in your life. I would always say, everything in every small wins that you have in your life has to be celebrated. Because until and unless you celebrate your small wins, you will not be able to achieve your bigger goals. And it's very, very important you be happy with yourself, with your own efforts and the things that you're doing. When you become happy, your energy levels are just going high. Have you ever tried, the day when you're happy, when you're in a very good mood, even if people are doing behaving in a different way. When I say different is different from our expectations, when they don't behave nicely with us, when they don't talk properly, or even when they are not able to do the task that we have given them in the way we want. If we are in a very happy mood, those things don't matter. We just say, okay, let it be. It was one off day. Tell me if you all relate to this situation. And the days when we are not in a very good mood, where we have criticized, judged ourselves, or done some activity, and we thought that we could have done, again, the critical analyzing, over analyzing, and judgmental behavior to ourselves, or taking somebody else's opinion as the truth and rating ourselves down. If we have done all that, and on that day, even a slightest mistake from our colleagues, from our teams, from our subordinates, and if you're married, from your kids or your spouse, the smallest mistake would trigger so much of over emotion. Have you ever experienced that? And why does that happen? It's because we are responsible. When we are happy, the biggest of mistakes are easily forgiven. And when we are sad or when we are not happy, even the slightest of the error becomes a huge problem for us. And it just gets into a battle, or it just gets into a war of dialogues. This is how brain works with us. So can we not put in extra efforts to be happy always, live in the present, not dwell in the past or get anxious about the future? When we practice all this, you will see on a long run your productivity, or the power, or the task that you do, or the things, that goals that you have to achieve, you will automatically do it without putting in more efforts. It will just be like sailing in a very smooth way. Your ship will sail. You will not find any problem, no challenges. Will just sail through the time very easily. Have you experienced any of these? Rahul, Sudha, Adav, any of these what I shared, the days when you are very not in a good mood, you just can't do things right. It's true for everybody, it's true for me as well. Yes, Ada, why do you, and do you know why do you wake up sad? Very interesting question you have, especially due to bad news. You don't, is it in relation to wake up sad? No, I would say you wake up sad because you slept sad. Now, how does your sleeping and waking up relate? In the evening, before our energy is also low. Why your energy is low? Why your energy? What drains your energy? It's your own thinking. See, when you say sad, sad is the emotion, is the feeling. Now, how is your feeling generated? Your feelings are generated by the thoughts that you create, right? If you think very positive, if you have all pep talks, all motivating talks and all, what is the feeling that you experience? You'll be happy, right? You'll be joyous, you'll be, full of energy. And if you feel sad, and why do you feel sad? If there is any comparison, or if you think about what someone has told you, or if you think wrong about somebody else, if there is any competition, any comparison, I'm not saying you're doing that, but if these things are in picture, then what happens is your thoughts are on the negative side. When you think negatively, your feeling, your emotions automatically goes on the wrong side, and your energy level drains, right? So in the again going back, why do we wake up sad is in the evening before you go to sleep. If you go with a thought that has been bothering you, or if there is something that is bothering you that has happened during the day and you have not resolved it, you know, there are so many instances, so many things, events during one day, right? So there are few things that you were not able to resolve. It could be just a dialogue with a very closest friend. If you had an unpleasant dialogue, and you had an argument or something, and you sleep with that thought, what happens is that thought, your conscious mind is asleep, your subconscious, which is 95% of our brain, right? All our activities, all our actions are taken care by our subconscious. That sad thought or that negative thought is still dwelling in the subconscious. When you sleep, your mind is still active, your subconscious is still active. So if you don't resolve that argument or that unpleasant interaction with your friend or with whomever you've had, or if you've had a failure, it could be anything. If you do not resolve that and go to sleep, the next day morning you will not be very happy when you wake up. Now you'll tell me, how do we resolve if you've failed somewhere, if you've had a loss, if there is something that is, some damage? So what do we do in those situations? We have to accept, okay, this thing has happened to me. You have to accept that failure. I'm not saying enjoy or rejoice that failure. You have to accept, okay, this has gone wrong, period. Now, nothing can be done. I cannot undo what has happened. But what are the steps that I will take tomorrow to make things better? If this is how you resolve your failures before you go to sleep, right? So if you do that, and now you don't have to do that with anybody outside, you have to do it internally with your own mind, with your own brain. When you have that internal dialogue, or when you resolve those things in your mind and then go to sleep, next day morning you will not be sad. Try doing that. Next, whenever you have a challenging day and you feel that something has really gone wrong, try resolving that issue in your mind and then go to sleep. Next day you'll have more energy and you'll not feel as drained as you had earlier. Bad news. So that, yes, bad news also. Like, it could be a loss in the family. It could be anything. Yeah. But yes, you have to accept. When you accept the situation, when you accept that emotion, when you accept that thing that has happened in your life, you have the power to change it. You have the power to overcome it. But when you are in the denial mode, no, this cannot happen to me. I am not wrong. Anything went wrong, and you say, no, my boss was wrong. It was not my mistake. You're always on the defensive or denial mode. What happens is you're not accepting. When you don't accept, you don't have, your brain will not start working in that solution mode. A brain also often works in problem mode and solution mode. So if any sorry, problem has occurred, if you focus on the problem, it is the problem mode that your brain is currently functioning. And if you're not accepting your mistake, you will always try to justify your actions. So there is no solution mode. But once you accept your mistake, your mind will focus on the solution, and that's where you will be able to change the energy levels of your mind, and you will be able to get solutions to it. Because if something has happened and you think that is not your problem, that is not your mistake, you will never work to finding a solution to it. So it's very, very important. Accept failures, I would say. Even if you have failed, accept it. Nothing wrong. We all fail, and that is how we all grow. Failure is not end of the world. But for that, you need to understand what is happening and take charge of your emotions at the present moment. So it's all, everything is very, very interlinked. We all, how do, again, going back to the same question, how do we become more productive? By accepting what has happened in life, uh, and making an effort to conscious effort to change the thinking. Don't think about what has happened, what went wrong. Whatever went wrong has already gone wrong. Nothing can be done. What can you think and what can you do to make things better now in that particular area of your life. Does that make sense, Sudha and Raman? Does that answer your questions of why do we wake up sad, and why our energy levels low? Yeah. So, friends, any more questions you have on the topic of today's discussion? Please write here. Otherwise, I will wish you a very good evening, very happy Diwali. Raman, any books? See, you if you are into reading, you can go in for. I would say for productivity, I would say you need to. You can go for any books that help you think positively. That help you feel positive, or that pep you up, or that help you take charge of your thinking and thoughts, because everything is in your hands. It's your mind, your brain. What you do, when you are happy, you'll be able to achieve everything. So read books that help you be happy and be your own self. You can try doing all that. Yeah. So, friends, once again, wishing you a very happy Diwali, and have a great year and prosperous and safe Diwali. And we'll connect very soon. And I've already shared my social media handles. If you want to connect, please connect with me on Instagram or LinkedIn, whatever your preference is. Until then, have a great evening and see you soon. Bye.